Good morning, everybody. Welcome. So, today I want to talk to you about the unforgiving leader. So, let me just preface this with I'm going to share some stories about me when I was a school administrator. And because I think it's really important to share not just my story, but so that you can see somebody who, currently I work with hundreds, if not thousands, of leaders in various positions. Many of them are just starting out, but many of them have been at this game for a while. And the one thing I know is that when you work with somebody and they're teaching you and they're mentoring you, there is a tendency to say, "Oh my gosh, Michelle's great and she knows it all, and gosh, I can never be like her," right? And I've actually heard that from people in the last few months. And let me just say this before I jump into the material. That is so not true, okay? And the reason why I do the work that I do is because, first of all, I know I'm no different than you. I've just had a different journey, right? Or I might be farther along in my journey than you are. And secondly, I don't want you to put me on a pedestal and say, "Michelle's so awesome, I could never be like her," because I want you to be like me. I want you to take what I'm teaching you and I want you to run farther than I've ever run with it before, okay? I want you to be even greater than I am. Okay, so I just thought I needed to share that with you guys this morning because we have just people out there who think, "Oh, I couldn't do that." And that's so not true. I really, really want you to internalize what I'm teaching you, run with it, and be awesome, okay? All right, so let's talk about the unforgiving leader. So first of all, let me preface this with, many people look at the idea of forgiveness as a personal development item. Therefore, it has no place in the workplace, right? It has no place in the boardroom, has no place in the nonprofit world. It's so not true, okay? Your ability to forgive, yes, it's a personal development thing, but it directly affects how you work in the workplace. So for me, I had an employee at one time who was very capable, okay? He was amazing. He really was amazing at his job. However, he was unwilling. Okay, so there were some attitude changes in him over time. It became very apparent that he didn't want to be there, right? He had the skill set, but he didn't have the belief or the attitude that kept him there, right? So maybe his body showed up to work, but his mind and soul didn't. Okay, he developed a really bad attitude over a series of probably a couple years. And quite frankly, he got to the point where he was, talking about me as the leader in a pretty negative way. And at one point actually tried to, tried to start a mutiny, I could say, right? Tried to really split the team, okay? And I will be honest with you, I did not handle that well. I just did not handle that well. I took offense. I really had a hard time. My feelings got hurt. It took me a really long time because at that time I was still suffering from people pleasing. Now I'm a recovering people pleaser. And so I didn't handle it well. And now I understand what happened, okay? It had nothing to do really with him and everything to do with me, how I was thinking and what I needed to do as far as growth, okay? Now, I did not know what to do. I really didn't have any guidance. I didn't at the time have a boss who, quite frankly, could lead me well, not somebody who had forgiveness on their radar, right? And I really struggled, even after I finally let him go, because it just got to the point where he then at that point was not doing his work, and all of our bottom line numbers were being affected, so I did have to let him go. But I can tell you this, that it definitely affected the way that I thought about my next hire. Okay, so when I was trying to find his replacement, I was very hesitant. I was very hesitant. I did not want to find a replacement. I was trying to desperately try to figure out how can I restructure my team. I knew I needed to find a replacement, and I really struggled with distrust. Okay. Now, one thing I know is that as I've worked with dozens of leaders in one-on-one coaching conversations, this is not my thing. This is our thing as leaders. Many leaders struggle with this same pattern. Okay. And when you have a situation where, you're having a lot of hurt, a lot of offense, your thinking is involved, and maybe you're struggling with grudges or unforgiveness, it makes leading other people more difficult. Okay. So, flash forward several years, I started working with a mentor who had, quite frankly, had an amazing story of walking through forgiveness in personal and professional life. And he really started to teach me the principles of forgiveness and also what happens in your body and in your brain when you have unforgiveness and also forgiveness. So one thing that I did was I had to consciously forgive this person. Even though, he has no place in my life anymore. Quite honestly, I don't even know where he's at. He might be listening to this video. If you are, you probably know who you are. And if you are listening to this video, let me just say I completely and totally understand where you were coming from. Because he was doing his best with what he knew at that time. Now, he might be a totally, completely different person at this point, right? When I walked through that forgiveness of this person, it was about me. It was not about him. So it was not about, limiting the things that he said or did or excusing them or denying them in any way. It was acknowledging them and trying to understand. And really what I understood was, we're all trying to do the best we can with what we know and what we have. And so was he. Okay. The next thing I really worked on was this idea of forgive small. So realizing that when you're starting this process of forgiveness, you might not want to start on the big stuff, okay? The stuff that has a lot of emotional attachment for you. So I began practicing forgiveness in the car. At that time, I was quite frankly doing 20 to 40,000 miles on my car a year. So I was driving a lot, right? And I found I didn't have road rage. I just had a really healthy dose of road impatience, okay? I would really just get a little unnerved. And that's a sign that you've got some unforgiveness that you might need to take care of. So I began to forgive other drivers and kind of tell myself, okay, I don't know their whole story, right? I would make up stories, right? Oh, that guy cut me off because he's just not paying attention. Or, oh, that lady, is driving erratic because, maybe she has an emergency at home or something, right? So I realized that not only do we make up stories about other people, and when something happens to us, we make up a story basically about how they're a jerk, right? But we never know the whole story. And then I began to think about this idea of times when I felt judged in my own life and realizing that doesn't feel really good, right? And so I really started to practice empathy and compassion for the other person. So trying to come from a place of understanding versus a place of offense. So I really don't have time today to go into a lot of what I could go into. Honestly, just the brain science around forgiveness and what it does for you. Tons of examples of how I've been able to walk clients through this idea of forgiveness. And it's totally unleashed their thinking in their personal and professional world. If you want, I will, in the comments, I'm going to leave my search engine link. Okay, so you'll have the searchy link. So let me tell you about that real quick, and then I'll give you my two challenges for the day. So the searchy link, what that is it is a link to go to a search engine where you can search all of my material. Okay, so currently we have over 300 episodes on the podcast. We've got videos on YouTube. We've got live videos on several groups in Facebook. If you want to know more about forgiveness, I guarantee you we have tons of hours of training out there already in those different formats. So follow the link in to go to that search engine and just put in the word forgiveness. Now, here's the beauty about what's going to happen when you do that. It will give you all of the podcasts, all of the videos that we've done before on forgiveness, so you can choose, which ones you want to watch. However, let's say I did a 30-minute podcast and at minute 15, I talked about forgiveness. It will tell you exactly in there, go to minute 15. You do not have to listen to the first 15 minutes of that podcast. You just can listen to that forgiveness part. Okay? That's the beauty of it. It saves you a lot of time. And if you're like me, quite frankly, I can read a whole lot faster than I can watch a video. It will have the transcript there all ready for you. Okay? So this is a great way for all of you who are following me. If you can't get your question answered right away, go to the search engine, put in some keywords there and see what pops out to you. Okay? Awesome. So, there are two things that might help you in this area of growth. And again, I don't have my time today to really go into depth on these, but you can search them and you'll find them out. Well, the first one, not the second one yet. But the first one is our Empowered Leaders membership group. So this is the group where basically we have almost 70 people in our group. We have content every week, released Friday mornings. We talk about things like how to build solid relationships. So of course, forgiveness would be one of those. We talk about how to get the work done, not only for you as the leader, but how do you help your team be productive? We talk about how to empower and engage your team. And we also talk about some design elements. So things like, how do you design a good staff meeting? How do you design a vision, right? Things like that. So if you're interested in growing your leadership abilities, I would highly recommend that. Again, I'll leave that link in the comments for you so you can follow that. And then this is an announcement. I think if you're listening to the podcast, I think I announced this a few days ago. I got the date wrong. So on July 20th in the evening, we are having a free teaching call, and we're talking about all kinds of things related to your self-image. So how you see yourself. Now, again, many people will say, that's a personal development thing, Michelle. Why in the world are you teaching me that as a leader? The way you see yourself is the way that you will lead. And if you are not finding a particular result that you want in any area of your life, perhaps your influence at home is not what you would like it to be. Maybe your influence since this pandemic, the changes in your thinking and things like that, you haven't been able to be as productive as you wanted to be. Listen, sometimes it's not about skill set, right? Sometimes it's about your self-image, how you see yourself. Okay, so we're going to do a free teaching call on July 20th in the evening. Definitely save the date. We're working on the script right now, and I'm telling you, I'm getting so excited about it. And then we're also going to have some free goodies for you. I'm really excited about that too as well. So, hey, thank you so much for showing up. Thanks for watching today. I really appreciate it. If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to chat with you and make sure that you have all the resources you need, okay? So with that, I release you into the wild. Go forth and prosper. Have an amazing day, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.